Hello, and welcome back to MB2 Underground, where we dink before we think. Today's episode is a big deal, so grab your paddle and let's rally. No kitchen violations here, just pure, unfiltered conversations. I'm Sarah Reed.
Sarah Reed?
Officially
Oh,
changed
let's
your name.
go. And
Yep.
I'm JT, Jonathan Tyrock.
That was the first day I could use it.
That threw me off. Sarah was a really good intro, though.
Thank you. I don't know anything about pickleball. I actually think it's a cult a little bit, but our guest today said that they're a novice and they're like newly interested in pickleball, so I thought we could start there.
That's great. I have a question about pickleball for our guest, so let's do it.
Okay.
Today, our guest is a very long-tenured, I'll say, leader in the dental industry. So without further delay, I'd like to introduce Tim Cluley, who is the Chief Revenue Officer of Midwest Dental.
Hello.
Tim?
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you for the intro. It's great to be here.
So pickleball, that is a new hobby.
Yes.
Okay. And are you have you been fully inducted into the cult of pickleball?
I'm getting there. The founder of the company, Matt Levisser, is hugely into it. He's got the bag and the shoes and the whole thing. And so we've kind of started playing at company events, and we play with some of our employees. And I bought 2 rackets for $29,
Nice.
The cheapest thing you could find at Dick's Sporting Goods. And so I haven't gone to that next level of
just wait.
buying all the expensive stuff. And
Pretty soon you'll be spending
it's a lot of
$200
fun.
on them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was playing in Wichita Falls this week with Matt, and we went to this place and played pickup games. And I mean, everybody was really good, so I was completely intimidated. They're really nice people, so it didn't end up being that way, but it was very intimidating. And I partnered with this young guy who was really good, and after about the 3rd hit, he's like, "What racket are you using?"
Oh, no.
And I said, "The best thing that $15 can buy."
And the most cost-effective option.
He didn't even say anything. He walked over to his bag and grabbed a different racket for me. He said, "Yeah, try this. I think you'll like it better."
Could you tell the difference?
Oh, yeah, immediately. Really? Yeah. It had a lot more touch to it. And
You got to have that touch.
yeah,
That's what I tell
and you
everybody.
put more spin on it.
What was, how much, did you ask him how much his racket cost?
No, but I looked it up, of course.
I was gonna say, you
It was
don't
$179.
Oh my gosh, for one racket?
Yeah.
So I was pretty close on my 200.
You were.
Thank you.
You were.
I'm not a big pickleball guy. My wife likes to play, and when it started kind of getting its momentum, I played a little bit with her. But then I had a soccer injury, and I tore my Achilles, and everybody in the orthopedic office asked me if I was playing pickleball, and so now I'm like deathly afraid to play, even though I'm fully recovered. I'm like, I'm not going to play pickleball, but they said
I think it's because of the age of the participants.
Probably more so.
Because everyone, I got my hat handed to me by a 68-year-old woman the other night.
Pickleball was started for nursing homes.
No, really?
Yeah.
Huh. I didn't
Or
know
like
that.
older.
It was in Seattle or Washington.
Oh, that's as
It
far
was
as my
named
research
after
went.
their dog. The family that
Name
their
was
dog
Pickle?
was Pickles. Yeah,
Huh.
Whoa.
that's how it started. It was back in the 70s, believe it or not.
I already like you. It's like, hey, I didn't know what
There's
was
so many
different
fun
about this
facts.
paddle, so I looked it up, and
touch.
So are you like that with most things? Like you get interested in something, and then you want to do a deep dive?
Hyperfixate, as we call it.
No, not really.
Not really.
There's certain things I really like to do. And
Like?
as you get older, you discover your time off is very, very valuable. So I'm very picky about what I do in my time off. And I love to fish. We bought a lake house a few years ago, and
Oh, amazing.
I love to cycle. Those are the first 2 things. If I had 3 or 4 hours and had to choose what to do, it'd be one of those 2. Pickleball's down the road a little bit on that.
Follow-up question, cycling. Is that like stationary bike, or is that like mountain biking, or is that like the guys in the street at 7 a.m. on Sunday when I'm trying to get to church?
Or steroids?
Yeah, some combination of those.
Or carb cycling? Which one?
It's a combination. I mean, I do have a Peloton, which I really like in the winter, but mainly I used to ride a road bike. In fact, there's a lot of dental people who when I lived in Wichita Falls, we have a bike ride called the Hotter Than Hell 100. It's in
heard of it.
August every year, and there's a lot of dental. I've had dentists that sleep in my living room on sleeping bags because there's no hotels available.
Oh, wow.
And I did that 27 times, I think.
Oh my gosh.
But now I'm just on a hybrid, on a trail, on a concrete trail, and it's just I'll do 15, 20 miles just for exercise.
Ain't no thing.
So how long does that take? I know nothing about cycling, so I don't have a concept of
Depends
time.
on who's listening. No, I'm kidding. It's about an
It's
hour,
about
hour and
13
15
minutes. No.
Yeah, about an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay. How long, maybe this sounds silly, but again, I'm trying to make a relative understanding. How long would that take, like Lance Armstrong?
He probably rides 25 miles, 28 miles an hour.
Okay.
So.
How long would it take me, 27 weeks pregnant, with a Peloton that's been sitting in a room for a year and a half?
Yeah. It's what I do is really not hard. So
It would depend on whoever was pulling you,
And the wind speeds.
Yeah,
and the
because you'd be
tailwinds
on
and
like the
such.
little sidecar. Right?
Damn straight.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's hear your story kind of from the beginning. So you've obviously been with Midwest for several years. What were you doing before you got introduced to Midwest?
I work for another distribution company in Wichita Falls, and I did several different things for them, but sales was one of them. And
Is that what you wanted to be when you grew up?
No, not really. I really thought I would be a coach and a teacher.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I ended up, when I got in college, I went towards journalism. And then, I don't know, none of those really appealed to me once I graduated. So,
What did you want to coach? Did you have like a
football.
football? Did you
Yeah.
play? You played? What? I can't speak today. Did you play growing up?
Yeah, I played, and my family is 6 boys. So I had 5 brothers, and we all played football and baseball and basketball and all that. So
I'm so sorry. As a pregnant person, were they like trying for a girl at a certain point and they were just like, we give up now?
I think number 5, which was me, and number 6 were both tries, and then they gave up.
Okay, sorry. I'm having a boy, and he talked about having
I have 3
and-
boys, so
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
Anyway.
we're 20 years from the oldest to the youngest. We're 20 years apart. So,
Wow.
so
Bless
it's,
your mother.
But yeah.
What was that like growing up with like siblings that are that much older? Give you a little bit of context. My dad and his brother, I don't know, they're probably a year and a half, 2 years apart. They're not very different. And then they have a sister who's 16 years younger than them. And so I have a little context from that, but I'm just curious, like what was your experience being on the younger side of the family tree?
The first 4, my first 4 brothers came in 5 years. So
Oh, your poor mother.
yeah, and my dad was
setting the bar
playing
for you, Sarah. Right there. Can't leave me hanging.
Help me.
Okay. She's got her eyes closed.
sorry.
It's all
I'm
good.
back.
My dad was actually playing minor league baseball at the time, so they were traveling too. So
Oh,
after the
no.
4th, I think they gave up and moved. They moved to Vernon, Texas. But I was far enough away. I was like 6 years younger than the 4th one,
Okay.
Oh,
and so they really just didn't pay much attention to me, which was good because the 4th one got picked on all the time.
yeah.
So I was in a good position. I was
Okay.
kind of spoiled.
Okay, back to your bluing of football.
Can you believe I said
Anyway,
that?
that's why I was interested. Just thought that would be something I would do. My older brother was a coach, and
Okay.
we have a couple of coaches in the family.
That's cool. But then you shifted the mindset to, hey, maybe journalism's what I want to be get into. Was there something that like you don't hear that nowadays? I don't think there's a ton of people that are looking to get into journalism. I think Texas A&M, where I went to school, I think they actually got rid of their journalism program. But like, what was it that like interested
I was
you?
just naturally kind of a writer.
Uh-huh.
So, and my aunt worked for the Wichita Falls newspaper.
Oh, that's cool.
So that kind of interested me. She was a great writer, and I don't know. I ended up being like the sports editor of the Midwestern newspapers, the university. It's called the Wichita, and then I was the managing editor for a year, and I really liked it. But at the end of the day, I didn't really like our local newspaper, and didn't really want to work at night.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was thinking more about a family and having a more of a normal life.
Journalism was my first major in college, and I was similar. I liked writing. Then I hit a point where I realized I just wanted to hear all the tea, and so I wanted to go like dig and find dirt on people. I lasted a full semester. It was similar. It was like, okay, this isn't it.
It's like you needed to be a private investigator or something.
That's really what I was going for. So then you transitioned, you started in sales.
Yeah.
Okay.
I basically just took a job, knew somebody who hired me there in Wichita Falls. It was a distribution company, sold paper and chemicals and
like Dunder Mifflin?
I don't know what that is.
He's in The Office.
Oh, The Office.
They sell paper.
Sorry, my kids give me that reference all the time.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
Just had
Paper
that yesterday and I had to ask about it. So I'm going to have to get up to speed on that one.
You should.
But anyway, yeah, it was a distribution. And in what I did in sales, I met Matt Levisser, who's our founder.
Okay.
And he had just opened up. It was called Discount Dental. It wasn't Midwest Dental at the time. He had opened that up, and I started selling him a little bit of stuff from what we did. And we already knew each other. We were acquaintances because our best friends were brothers. So we would end up at the same house.
Oh, that's cool.
And then we would run into each other at sports, playing softball or something. But when I started talking to him, and at the time, it was him and his wife and his mother-in-law.
Oh my gosh.
And they were doing it out of their garage in Wichita Falls. And
you thought, I have to be a part of this.
No, I didn't. It took about 2 years.
Yeah, as it does.
And Matt's a very visionary guy. He's a great guy and just had this vision of what he wanted. He was doing dental sales before for about a year. And he just knew he could do it better. And he always laughs, says, I was 24 years old, I had a new baby, and I was just stupid enough to try to do this. That's how it started.
I think that's how lots of, great organizations now, that's how they get their start. It's like, well, I'm either not smart enough to not do this, or I'm smart enough to know to not stop.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like I just think people dumber than me have done this.
The thing I always go back to, you think about like the average human and the average intelligence of a human. And I don't know, wherever you guys landed on that just now, I know where I land.
Do you?
Half the people in the world are smarter and half the people are dumber.
Yeah.
That always resets my mind. I'm like, man, I don't know. Maybe that says more about me than you guys. Sorry, I digress.
So he was in his garage, and you were like, "Now's the time." It took 2 years, you said, though, to get courted.
Yeah, definitely. It was about 2 or 2.5 years.
What was the final thing that convinced you to take the leap?
I was kind of tired. This is strange from a chief revenue officer, but I was kind of tired of sales at the time. So I thought, I really want to be on the other side of the table. And he needed somebody to really manage purchasing, and so that's kind of what I did when I joined him.
How many people were part of the organization?
I was employee number 7.
Okay.
It was the good old days. Like
Man.
Every Friday at noon, his father-in-law brought margaritas. And we got nothing done after that.
That's right.
There wasn't that much to do then. So.
I think back about my professional progression from when I graduated, even to getting to here to MB2, and the very first group and company I worked with was relatively small. It was probably 15 or 16 of us when I started. And Fridays afternoons were the same way. We'd go out to lunch, and it was a mix of folks that were in their early to mid 40s, and then people that were in their 20s. And the guys in the 20s would go and we'd buy a case of beer, and we'd walk around. We'd get back to the office, walk around, and it just became like Friday happy hour at 12:30. But those are some of the most fond memories I have, where you're just sitting there and you're like, all right, well, we did some work this week, and this was so much fun, and good thing we don't need the last half of the last day of the week. But
tell us more about those early days. Like, how did you know? At what point did you realize, okay, we're really on to something special here?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It was everything was hard. We were breaking into an industry. We had the larger companies, who are still the larger companies, that were trying to keep us out of the industry.
Yeah.
So it was hard to get product lines. So I think part of it was just the challenge. He and I are both competitive, and the more closed doors we ran into, the harder we worked to get through them. And you're talking about small offices. The beauty of that is the relationships you build, the culture you have, and we were able to keep that working. So we were all rowing the same direction, and so I think that kind of helped focus us, was just how challenging it was.
You talk about the challenges. What do you feel like in those early days was like the best mistake that you made? Like the mistake that you had to make, the failure that had to happen to teach you something pivotal to your success?
Wow, that was a tough question.
I know. I literally told him before this I wasn't going to throw him out.
So here's the thing. Sarah's the one with the good questions. I'm the guy that just kind of sits over here and tries to ask, but hard hitter over here.
You can think about it if we need to keep going. But I always think it's interesting to look back on the mistakes that feel like they obliterated you. Like I think about the time in marketing where I realized we had spent $9,000 on a product that had a misspelling in it that I was responsible for. And I remember like being really upset. My boss at the time, I had two bosses. One was like, it's okay, it happens. The other one's like, no, let her feel it. She won't make the mistake again. And I remember how humiliating and humbling that was. But it was such a good opportunity for me to realize how I could be a leader if that happens to somebody, but also the importance of impact when stuff like that happens. But I've also had 6 months to think of my answer to that question, so we can move on.
She's also the originator of the question.
Well, I do think, we've made tons of mistakes. That's kind of how you learn. And I think what those mistakes, I don't think I'm going to single one out, but I would say those mistakes teach you to listen, to be open to making changes, to understand that your way isn't necessarily the right way.
The humility that comes with making yours.
Yeah. I think it's an important piece of the whole growth process. So I wouldn't pick out one, but I would pick out just a series of, trying to figure, neither one, he nor I were professionally trained in sales. I mean, it's really all kind of from the gut of treating people correctly the way we want to be treated and doing things the right way. And when we make a mistake, correcting it. And so, through that, we just kind of formulated how we were going to go to business every day.
So with you being at the company so long and having such a good relationship, have you seen that carry through? I mean, I know, and I want to jump completely ahead, but to pull on the thread of the culture and the early days and how you guys established the culture then, like I've got to imagine the continuity of leadership from then to now has really impacted the company and the culture. And have you guys pretty much kept that same approach and culture as the team has grown?
And how, if
I'm
so?
glad you asked that question.
I'm prepared for that one.
I mean, when you look back at from when I started to now, the growth of the company, we're 175 employees, and we've just had great growth every year. We're very steady. We don't have any investment in our company. We've invested everything back in it. Tremendous, like, American success story. But the thing I'm most proud of is the culture. Mm-hmm. We have not, we've managed to keep that through different periods. Like up until 10 or 12 years ago, we never hired a rep from another company.
That's
all
so
of
cool.
ours were pretty naturally groomed, and it was just hiring people that we knew fit in and that could do the job. And in the last 10 or 12 years, we have hired people from other companies, and it has been more challenging to keep that culture, but really proud because we still have it. And that's every one of our employees. If you ask them, they would tell you that's why they work for us, is the culture.
Well, I think when you start thinking of hiring or growing your team based off of character and philosophy, knowing you can train people on technical skills, you end up with, to your point, people you can train and mold and get them where they need to be. You can't train people on philosophy and value alignment and culture. I know one of the things that our notes said that you take a lot of pride in your leadership is positivity, like being that positive person in the office. How do you personify that, and how do you also toe the line between that and like toxic positivity in the workspace?
Good question.
Thank you.
Golly, Sarah. Sarah came to play today.
Thank you. I came prepared. I read my notes.
I think obviously you can't just be positive Pollyanna about everything, right? So, but I think if you bring the attitude of positivity that you're gonna listen to people when something happens and not immediately jump to some conclusion of why they did something or whatever. I think that's kind of the positivity I'm talking about. And
I like it.
But it all starts with a relationship to me. It's building a relationship, knowing that person you're dealing with, they know you care about them. And if I'm having to have a hard conversation or a negative conversation, however you want to put that, they know it's not about our relationship, right? It's about their action. And I think when you separate those, you can make that work. When you're disciplined, and Matt is 4 years younger than me, but I will give him credit for he really taught me to. I was very non-confrontational, or what I would call non-confrontational, and I still am. But his philosophy was always run to the fire. You know, take care of whatever it is, and for me to do that, I have to have a relationship.
Yeah,
that's how it works best for me. So
I relate
just
to
kind
that.
of learned that over the years, and again, be authentic. Be who you are. Treat people well. Treat your customers well. I mean, we've held on to that for 30 years. So.
Well, and I feel like maybe for you, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the distinction comes between embodying positivity and a positive outlook instead of projecting it on other people. That's like, no, you don't get to be upset about this thing because you're employed, and isn't that a great thing? Like trying to push it on people, you get to embody it and like bring a presence of it, and it tends to spread easier that way.
I love that. That's I totally agree with that.
So let's go back. We've talked about the continuation of the culture as the company grew. Was there a turning point, or was there a point that you can identify and say that was the point of inflection where the company really took off, going from the garage to what it is today? Is there a point somewhere along that path you're like, man, that was major for us,
especially when you're competing with all the big boys?
Yeah. Which it's competing against big boys is nice in a way because we're very nimble. We're very open. I love the structure of the offices here where everybody sits together. We don't have that physical structure, but we have
there's
that.
Not enough room in the garage. Just kidding.
We have that philosophical structure, that we're always right there.
Was there a point of like a point of inflection?
Yeah, no, there wasn't, any certain thing that happened, but I do think just over the years when the industry realized we weren't going anywhere, nobody was going to keep us out. Going back 10 or 12 or 15 years when we did start hiring some people from other companies, that was because they came to us.
Yeah.
We had gotten to that point in the industry where we have a good, strong name. We were pretty much throughout Texas by that time, and we had developed a relationship as a progressive company that's fun to work for, that works hard and does the right things. And the owners of the company, Matt and myself and Danny Kowalik, who's our CFO, had this reputation of just being approachable, regular people, and people want to work for us. And so that was kind of a turning point, but it was a slow turn, right?
Yeah.
It was 10-year, like the overnight success that takes 20 years.
Exactly.
Right.
I love that quote. I'm an overnight success that works on this every day kind of thing. You mentioned the industry, like the supply industry is, it's evolved over the last, there's changes all the time. Like what are some of the biggest things that you guys have faced as a company, or that have maybe impacted, again, the trajectory of the company? What are some of the things and the changes in the industry that have impacted you guys?
In this case, I will point out one thing that was really big, and it was about 7 or 8 years ago, because before 7 or 8 years ago, the manufacturers treated the distributors differently. Like Henry Schein got treated different than Midwest Dental. They got different pricing, and in some aspects that's right. They buy a lot more than we do. But when there was a lawsuit that happened I think in 2017 or 18, and it was a FTC lawsuit against Shine, Patterson, and Benco. And basically the result of that was that the manufacturers started treating us equally. And so
interesting.
Like today, if MB2 says they want to buy from Midwest Dental, we get the same price from 3M that Shine does.
That's
right.
Great. Yeah.
So it changed everything, and it allowed us to participate in places that we couldn't participate before. And through those years now, we feel like we do it better than our competitors now.
That's awesome.
I think that's a game changer, right? Because you mentioned
Levels
like you're
the playing field.
You're nimble. You may not have the same size, or reach per se as maybe a Shine, but the fact that you're smaller and nimble, like where you guys are, allows you to really like go at it tenaciously. That's super cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and being small too, you kind of under the radar. So we like that position.
I know this is like a complete 180, but one of the questions I wanted to ask about was.
Please tell me you're going back to pickleball.
No.
Okay.
The note said something about a very short tenured employee that you had. Yeah. And I have a similar experience, but like when I was in high school and I went to a job and I didn't like it. But can you tell us that story?
Yeah, and it's just, we had a lot of fun, and we still have a lot of fun, although we're busier now. But just lots of jokes and kidding each other and all that. And I had the record for the shortest tenured employee. I hired someone, came to work at 8, left at lunch, and never came back. So,
did you just get ghosted? Did they ever say anything?
No, never came back. Never heard. And this is in Wichita Falls, where you think you would run into him somewhere, and no, never did.
That's wild.
This is like really morbid, but what if something happened to them on their lunch break?
No, again,
I think you would have heard. You would have heard. Yeah, you would have heard.
Fair.
Definitely.
When we were going over the notes, I mentioned to Sarah that at one of the first places I worked, one of the first years where I was part of the hiring process and bringing younger folks in, we didn't have a person that left at lunch the first day, but they did not come back for the second day. It was just all of a sudden there and then not there.
Yeah.
Now, a little bit harder to hide in Dallas, but a little bit easier to hide in Dallas and Wichita Falls.
Yeah, we've had, I talk about our culture and hiring people. I'd say we're about 30 or 40% of who we hire, actually work out. It's difficult to hire. Everybody knows that. But we had a sales rep in Dallas that we tried to fire for 3 weeks, but we couldn't find him.
Gosh.
And you live here.
That wasn't my hire either.
Right.
Yeah. Just point that out.
Well, it's cool to hear more about the journey from when you started in 2007, right? Was that whenever you started?
No.
When did you
1992.
92. Oh, God. Why was I so off? Okay.
Pregnancy brain.
Yeah, we'll go with that. So pretty much since I've been alive.
MB2 started in 2007. That's where you're going with it.
Okay. What are you excited about in the future for Midwest? Like we talk on here about AI or the changes in the industry or what the next 5 years look like. What is something about the future of Midwest that you're pumped about?
The number one thing that pops in my head is our sales team. I'm really, really excited that we have a great group. We have a large group of people who've been with us a long time, but then we have a group of 10, I think, that are, we call them our next gen. They've been with us for 2 or 3 years. They bring this young energy. I've learned so much. They teach me what each of those little emojis mean. We have emojis class.
Are they the ones
sometimes I don't know, the one that does that and all that. I don't know all
anyone
of them.
knows.
So
which way, the hands up? I always think it's hallelujah.
Yeah, is it high 10?
That one. Yeah. Or is it like the U, like Miami? What is it, son?
It's like hooray.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Okay, yeah.
Are we riding a roller coaster? Who knows?
They'll put those on our group text. And I'm like, no
question mark.
Idea what that is. Yeah. But seriously, learned a lot from them. They bring a different energy. They work really, our mature reps are really helping them, and they help teach our mature reps, because a lot of it's getting younger with dental offices. Mm-hmm. They're typically, the person who does the buying is typically mid-20s, and so just kind of learning from each other, and we just have a great team. They get along really well. They're all work hard, aggressive, and we have a new manager that's also young. We have really flipped our sales team over the last 10 or 15 years. We have more women than men, which I love.
Damn straight.
I'm women's empowerment for sure. And we have a lot of women in our management positions now, and it's just kind of a whole trend that I'm really excited about, because really the industry has gotten a lot more difficult in the last 5 years. So it's nice to have just some different energies in it that are pushing it in the right direction.
What I can acknowledge and appreciate about the culture from the outside, like I'm not there every single day, but even how you talk about the value of different experience and different ages and different walks of life in your organization. Like I think it would be easier as if you're a co-owner, can you have 3 owners? Like would that be co-owner? Okay.
Sure.
As a co-owner and
how about partner?
A C level, member of the team, to be able to talk so highly about learning from people that are younger, or maybe bring a different energy and finding ways to have that like mentor-mentee program, feels like there's a lack of ego of like, I know better because I've been here longer, I'm older, more established. And I think that's a really valuable thing to have in an organization. And that's what keeps, we've talked about you being nimble, like that's what keeps the energy up, but also how you stay ahead of the curve. I think it's cool to hear the embodiment of that just even from the outside.
No, definitely. I think it's very easy for people to sit down anywhere, whether it's in front of a camera like we are today, or just sit and talk about how, great they are, or how they approach things, and who knows, but like to Sarah's point, you sitting here and how you were explaining, I'm learning from our youngest people. Like it's very clear that what as we were prepping for the podcast, the notes that you provided, like you are the embodiment of what you've said, which is cool. It's cool. It very much comes across. And I think that's something that is really, really awesome.
Thank you. And be honest, some of it has to be intentional, right?
Yeah.
When someone's telling you something that you've tried 10 times in the past and failed.
Oh, yeah.
You have to still show some enthusiasm for it. And like, hey, you never know. It might work this time.
This might be the era.
So there is a little of that. But
we've talked about the pride that Midwest takes in the relationships that you build. But aside from maybe that specifically, what does Midwest do differently that kind of creates your own identity outside of the big suppliers or like the industry in general? What do you guys do different that's really adding value?
I think it's a personalization. We decided a long time ago to go to market with salespeople and relationships, and even though some of the mail order companies are making some inroads into the industry, we still feel like it's the best way to do business, and we don't want to do it any differently. So we're not pulling reps out of accounts, big accounts even. We want them in there. We want to have a relationship all the time. And then the other thing is we are proactive. So just an example, if we picked up a large account, if we're going against the big companies and there's a large account at stake and everybody does a RFP and one of the big companies wins it, they've won that account, they're going to start servicing it. It's kind of a done deal. If we win the account, that's when we go to work. Then we start looking at all the data. We bring solutions, whether they want to do them or not.
Right.
Doctors can be, picky about what they use or whatever, but we're constantly looking, bringing solutions, saying, hey, this is what you're doing. You could try this. If so, you could save a little money, maybe even have a better outcome. Mm-hmm. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. But we're going to be doing this to you, and that's really what we promote every day with our team, is to be proactively looking for ways that we can help an office, because we can't win by fighting over the price of cotton rolls.
Sure.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
win in that. Which when you win in building a relationship of trust, where a doctor knows that we have their best interests in mind.
Yeah,
That's a value-added component that just sets you apart. It's like, sure, cotton balls or cotton rolls are going to cost what cotton rolls cost. Like, how can we show you that there is more to Midwest than just cotton rolls?
The last question I have for you, and I'm only going to throw one more curveball at you, but with all of your years of experience in the industry, what advice would you give to people that may be up-and-comers or younger starting
Great
out?
question.
Thank you.
His advice is going to be never go on the MB2 Underground podcast if Sarah's there asking questions because they're too good.
No, I stole this one.
Yeah, she did. So I would say be authentic and in your job. And if that doesn't lead to success, you probably need a different job. Find something where you can be yourself and bring your values to the table, and that brings a value to your employer or to your customer. And don't settle.
Don't make yourself fit the job. Find a job that fits you.
Yeah, don't settle. And I honestly learned that a lot from my kids. Mm-hmm. They are all very much, I'm not going to settle for this. I want to do that. And sometimes Dad's pushing against them, and sometimes I'm not. But I'm very proud of that, and I think I've learned from that.
I love it.
Yeah,
Is there anything we didn't ask you that you wanted to talk about today?
No, really, to me, the essence of Midwest. I mean, you can talk about all sorts of different things of how we do business, and our Midwest Partner Solutions. That was one of the things. Because I do feel like I am sitting in MB2, right, and it's a DSO, and I feel like DSOs are an important part of the industry, but they don't need to be 100% of the industry. Mm-hmm. So we're very, very dedicated to bringing DSO type benefits, level playing field, the word you mentioned, or the phrase you mentioned, to independent dentists to keep, because I think the industry is at its best when there's balance.
Right.
And so we are very dedicated to having both sides of that, and it helps because we actually do business in both. So so we feel like we're able to bring some great benefits to both sides of that, and to keep a healthy industry. I mean, at the end of the day, we're taking care of patients, and we all kind of forget sometimes, but we all have to keep in mind is that's the end result, is taking care of patients, but also furthering how many people are getting dental, because there's still a lot of people who don't even get dental or dental at all. So I think those are kind of the things. Like on the side of, I'm on the board of the Texas Oral Health Coalition, and it's very humbling to me. You're talking about people that in a room that are smart. These are all public health officials that have 12 initials on that end of their name, and it's always very humbling because they're just all really smart, and they've dedicated their life to helping the underserved. And so that's a very meaningful thing for me to do, coming from a corporate company who's just selling and working on profits and stuff. So I love being a part of that. It helps me ground me to what's some things that are really, really important. And I've got one little story after.
Oh, come on. That's what we're here for.
We were at one of these. Texas Oral Health Coalition has a meeting, in-person meeting where they do CE and all that, and I won't name the names, but two of these people were trying to set up this backdrop where they could take pictures that had Texas Oil, and myself and one of my sales managers were watching them, and we're kind of laughing because they just couldn't do it, and so we walked over to them, and we said, "Okay, I think you guys are too educated. Let us try this." And of course, we had it up in about 2 minutes, which we do those all the time. But it was just really funny because they thought it was funny too. But super, super educated people, and I don't know. It's always humbling being around them, and it helps ground me for what I do every day.
I appreciate the mentality and the methodology behind like the passing it down a little bit. Like you talked about that settlement in 2017 and 18 and how it leveled the playing field and was kind of a booster for your organization, and being able to provide that to the dental industry as a whole to provide more access to care, I think is a really nice comparison of like learning from something that was you got the benefit of and being able to pass that on.
Agree.
Anything else?
I've got nothing. Tim?
Thank you so much for coming and doing this.
Thank y'all for having me.
This has been awesome.
Yeah, great conversation.
And we'll be looking for you on a pickleball court somewhere soon.
I won't.
I heard you have one here. How do you get on that one?
Very competitive.
We've got two, and the best part about them is they're indoor.
Yeah, I know. I saw they look great.
Well, MB2 Undergrounders, we have reached the conclusion of our recent, or I guess current episode. It's really recent because it's so current. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya. Wow.